Congratulations, your website is now finished, and I really hope that after building this website, your business is able to grow. So as I wrap up this project, I would like to create some videos to walk you through some of the analytics that I've connected to your dashboard over here, how to read them and how to use them to guide your business decisions moving forward. So I'm going to be starting with the Google Analytics part here. So when you click Google Analytics, you're able to jump straight to your Google Analytics profile, and you don't need to jump around anymore. I'm going to be walking you through all the modules here and how to read them. So landing at home, we're going to be able to see the high level overview of your analytics. So here you can see a trending line of your users here. You can see how many people visited your website over time. You can see your visitors, revenue, conversion rate, and sessions. The main difference between users and sessions is that sessions is how many times a person visited your website. How many times your website is visited, whereas users are basically the amount of unique people who visited your website. Distinct difference there. Here you can see how many active users are there in your website at this very moment. The moment there are no active users, here you could see when you hover a certain day here, you could actually see the breakdown of your traffic. Are a lot of people visiting from social media, from direct, organic search. Here you could see how are your active users trending over time. You could actually observe. You could take a look and actually observe how well you're doing here. How well you retain users. So are you able to retain them for further weeks rather than just the first day? And when do your users visit your website? So you could see here, whenever we hover here, maybe 21 people visited your website at a Wednesday. You can basically use this data to time your social media posts so you could actually make the maximum impact. Sessions by country, you could see a lot of people visited from the Philippines. Here, top devices. We could see that a lot of people are using mobile rather than desktop. Top pages of your website. You could see how many people visited certain pages of a website and how many of our goals are being reached from the last 7 days over here. You could also see our top selling products, and this is for Google Ads. Let's move on to the real-time section of this Google Analytics. This is just basically a more expounded view of the real-time analytics a while ago. You can see how many people are active in your website at the moment. You can see how many people, how many page views your website is getting for today for the past 30 minutes. Top referrals for traffic, top social traffic, top keywords in Google search, and what are the top active pages at a certain time. You can also see your location, top locations for your website visitors. And then this is basically an important place where one of the most important places you're gonna look at your analytics. The next one, I would like to bring us to audience overview. Audiences basically shows us who are how many people are visiting our website over a certain time. So this is a more expounded view for that kind of information. You can see here we have 374 users for the past for a certain time. We have 360 new users. We have 456 sessions, number of sessions per user, and then pages per session, average session duration, and bounce rate. So again, users are just basically users, unique people who viewed your website. New users are basically new people, apart from the previous people who viewed our website. Sessions are basically the amount of times a website is viewed, as I've mentioned, and then the number of sessions per user is basically this one divided by the users. Page views are basically how many pages are viewed in total. Pages per session is basically this one divided by session. And you can see how long people spend at one session. And bounce rate is basically people that just viewed the first page and didn't look at anything else. See top demographics, and you can see the top language here. And basically when you click at different parts here, you could really see a breakdown of which one is the top. Which one is the top for a certain aspect for like your website visitors. The next important part I want to show you is the demographics. This basically shows you the breakdown of like the website, a clear look as like who your website visitors are. We can see here that for example, that for your demographics, a lot of them are the 18 to 24 years old, whereas there's the second is 25 to 34 years old, and it slowly like trails off at the later ages. And here we can see that there are more female users than male users. That helps you understand your website visitors and audience a bit more. The next part that's important is the interest part. This one is interesting because you're actually able to see get into the mind of your audience, of your website visitors and your customers and your audience. So for example, Whole Equip is a fitness, like a home gym equipment store, but you can see that people are interested in food and dining, avid news readers for news and politics, and then maybe they're also avid investors, frequently visit salons, luxury shoppers, and travel buffs, or basically a standard millennial Filipino, a standard upper middle class millennial Filipino today. So you can actually actually have a better look at your audiences, like just visiting this part of your analytics. The next part that's important for you is to like look at acquisition. Acquisition is basically shows the breakdown of like your website visitors and where they're coming from. So we could see, for example, here where there's a lot of direct traffic, basically people who directly search the website. Next, we can see that the next is like organic search, people coming from Google or like any search engine. Social traffic, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Pinterest, you name it. And then referrals are basically coming from other websites. You'll also get to see a breakdown here of your traffic. And if you want a better breakdown of your traffic, you go to all traffic and then channels. Okay, you can see the top is still direct, organic search, and social. But if you want to break it down further, you go to source/medium. So now you can see, okay, direct, that's the number one, but number two, they're coming from Google. And number three, you're coming from Instagram. Number four, you're coming from Google Ads. And number five, you're coming from YouTube. So from there, you could actually study like which medium is performing the best and then create a strategy around like improving that medium. The next is behavior. Behavior is basically, well, analyzing your website visitors' behavior. So here you can see again our typical suspects, page views, unique page views, average time on page, bounce rate, and exit percent. And here you can see the top performing pages on your website. Again, no surprise that shop, like the home page is the top. Next is the shop, and then from here you can see that the product pages are like the next ones trailing off. And here, if you want to like look at the top performing page in your website, you could go to like site content and all pages, and you could just like see. If you want like to see more of them, you could just like go like you can just basically increase the number of rows here. You can see all the pages in your website ranked from top to bottom. The last one is basically goals. Basically, where goals are basically observing like observing how people behave on your website, and we attribute a certain monetary goal for a certain behavior. So you have the important part here is like see engaged users, contact inquiry, enter checkout, newsletter sign up, and purchase completed. So engaged users are basically people who viewed like more than 10 pages on a website. And whenever that's accomplished, you're going to be counting up one here. Contact inquiry is whenever someone submits a contact form inquiry. Enter checkout is whenever someone goes to checkout but still didn't complete the purchase. Purchase completed, basically they've completed the purchase, they bought a product from you, and newsletter sign up, very explanatory. We could basically observe like how many people completed those KPIs on our website. And the last one is e-commerce. This one's very fast, basically how much revenue your website generated, but it's better to like check your website dashboard for this. So that's it for today. That's Google Analytics for your website. Hope you find this useful.